Bless. This is the Down to Earth podcast documentary, and this is the series The Bloods and the Crips, The American Nightmare, Part 2. In this episode, we're gonna focus on the character Stanley Tookie Williams. Was born December 29th, 1953 in Shreveport, Louisiana. He was christened Stanley Tookie Williams III, but was usually called by the name Tookie. His father abandoned his family when he was only 1 year old. In 1959, Williams moved with his mother to Louisiana, Los Angeles, California, and settled in the city's south central area. As Williams' mother worked several jobs to support them, Williams was a latchkey kid and often engaged in mischief on the streets. He was a troublemaker. He recalled as a child he would make some money from the hustlers in the area, in the neighborhood, right? The older guys. These hustlers would bet on just about anything. So they would do all types of bets, especially, like cockfighting, cricket fighting, fish fighting. That was back in the day. Pay-per-view street fights among individuals between 6 and 50 years of age. Older hustlers would bet on children to fight, so he was probably one of them. Williams said that he was often paid a couple of dollars after dog fights to take care of the injured dogs. So he would take care of the dogs for the hustlers, that was in the fights. Williams was also occasionally paid to participate in street fights as a young man. That's where he got his reputation, street fighting back in the days. By the time Williams was a teenager, he had gained a reputation in South Central's West Side as a vicious street fighter. Williams was expelled from George Washington Preparatory High School and denied entry by several other high schools in South Central area. So he was known as a troublemaker and intimidating. Tookie was sent to Los Padrinos and then Central Juvenile Hall for the first time after the formation of the Crips, charged with robbery in a Clifton restaurant, which he denied participating in. We'll get back to that. Williams stated he founded the Crips not for the intention of eliminating other gangs, but to create a force powerful enough to protect the local black people from racism, corruption, and brutality at the hands of the Los Angeles police. At this time of the Crips formation, there were only 3 Crips sets: Washington East Side Crips, later called East Coast Crips; Williams West Side Crips, later 8 Trade Gangster Crips; and the Compton Crips, led by a teenager named Mac Thompson. Williams formed the West Side Crips using his own influence, having befriended many clique leaders and street thugs on the West Side. Washington, Williams, and Thompson went on an aggressive and violent recruitment campaign throughout the black ghettos of Los Angeles, where they challenged the leaders of other gangs to one-on-one street fights. This process resulted in most gangs agreeing to join the Crips, and they were converted from small independent cliques into subgroup sets, a gang within a larger gang. The Crips quickly became the biggest street gang in South Central by both numbers and territory. However, numerous gangs, they still resisted losing their independence. The holdout gangs formed a smaller alliance to combat the Crips' influence, branding themselves as Bloods, and would become their fiercest rivals. Williams formed rivals. The LA Brim and the Chain Gang joined the Blood Alliance and became the Brims and the Inglewood Family Bloods, respectively. As a leader of the West Side Crips, Williams became the archetype of a new wave of Los Angeles gang members that would engage in random acts of violence against rival gang members and innocent people alike. Williams and his best friend, Curtis Buddha Morrow, would noticeably participate in these activities, striking fear in both street criminals and residents of South Central, Watts, Inglewood, Compton. Williams' violent acts became the legendary in South Los Angeles criminal underworld. Along the way, Williams became very educated. He went actually to school, and down the line, he became a community counselor. He got into bodybuilding even more and got more stronger. And like I mentioned, more influence, right? So he still was doing his gang activities, even though being a community counselor. He lost that job after basically being convicted of a crime. And down the line, he was convicted of 4 counts of murder, right? So it didn't really end too good for this brother, right? Williams' activities with the Crips ended in 1979 when he was arrested for the murder of 4 people during 2 robberies, convicted of murders in 1981 and sentenced to death. He spent over 2 decades on death row until he was executed by lethal injection in 2005. The highly publicized trial of Williams was extensive. They even made a movie which starred Jamie Foxx, so you could actually look that up. There's a lot about this guy. This man, he created the gang with Raymond Washington. They came together, but after Raymond Washington got locked up, he took over. He was basically the influence for the Crips, right? He took over. But then, you know, what happened to Tookie. Tookie went to jail 1979, and he got locked up for until all the way until 2005, until he got executed. He wrote many children's books. Meanwhile, behind bars, he got many awards. What a life to live, right? Still being influencing people behind bars.